Hi, I'm Joey.
And I'm Heidi.
And welcome to our Productive Play Entrepreneur Interview Series. Today we are here with Jordana Gutman, the founder of the Gutman Method, which is an entrepreneurial formula for teenagers to use to stand out on college applications, be accepted into schools they want, and achieve in life.
Hi, Jordana. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited to share your story.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This is awesome to be here.
No problem.
Can you tell our audience what your business is all about?
Yeah. I teach teenagers how to think and act like entrepreneurs. And I help them focus on what they enjoy and what they think is really cool and fun to learn about, and understand the business side of it, or all the different real life things that they can do in the world to make a difference around whatever it is that they care about and are excited by.
Great. So we heard you come from a long line of entrepreneurs. Can you tell us your experience as a child living in an entrepreneurial family?
Yeah, I had a father who had not just a law firm, but also a collections agency and a process server company. And my mom had a travel agency, and she and my grandma both owned that. And my other grandparents had an insurance business, and my other grandpa had a real estate business. So I was surrounded by people that were making their own opportunities. My father had the most influence on me. And he was always talking about, wherever we went, was like, he'd be seeing just different ways that businesses could be doing better. And he was always talking to me about, if this ice cream store always offered the flavor that because we'd go to this local ice cream store and they never had the flavor that everyone was asking for. And he says, think about how much more money they could make if they just offered that. Or, we'd be walking somewhere and he'd say, wow, this, it seems like they're, these houses are going for much less money than usual. That would probably, end up increasing in value a lot. People should invest in that. Or he'd say things to us that we're always sort of thinking about keeping our eyes open to opportunities. He was always talking about ways that he found clients and ways that he made his clients happy. And it was just constantly just showing us opportunities in the world. It was a really big deal to him.
And since your whole family was entrepreneurial, almost everyone had a business. Were they all outside the house the entire time? Like, did you have any time to spend with your family?
My dad did work a lot, actually. He was pretty much a workaholic, so he wasn't around that much. But because he had his own business, it was, his choice. And there were some things he just never missed. Like, he never missed any sports games or plays or anything that, anything that actually mattered to him, he would be there for. And he was able to take vacations, and really it was just up to him. He worked a lot because he really wanted to, but that was his choice. My mom, because it was her own business, it was very relaxed. She had a travel agency, but she was pretty much always able to be around because she didn't have someone telling her where to be, and she was able to, support her business. And my grandma was the same way. They traveled all the time, and they were always around. So my grandpa, too, because it was his business and it was real estate, he was always able to be around. They lived in the house across the street from me.
Oh, wow.
So it was really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw my grandparents like every day. And
wow.
They both worked for themselves, so they had that flexibility.
Yeah. Do you think that environment influenced you to become entrepreneurial?
Yeah, I think I got the bug from my dad.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. When I always knew that I could find my own opportunities, so it was frustrating for me to listen to what other people were telling me to do, because I just always thought I could do it better myself, or I could do it on my own. So that probably isn't a good thing to have issues with authority. But.
Yeah, I don't know about Heidi, but I feel kind of the same way.
Yeah, well, you guys have really good role models at home, so.
Yeah.
And you're clearly...
One's over in the background over there.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are very lucky. You're very lucky. It's so cool what you're doing. I'm really impressed. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited to be a part of it today.
Thank you.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to the University of Michigan. Yeah.
What did you major in?
I majored in economics. It was really interesting. Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the class?
the professor was really the main professor that I took a lot of the classes from. And economics, it's a lot about human behavior and supply and demand, and just understanding just the way things work in a different way than before. I wouldn't say it was practical though. It didn't really help me to have to do anything that I've ever needed to do, but I enjoyed it while it lasted. It was certainly interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Did you also go to law school?
I did. I went to law school. That was fascinating. I have to say, law school, the first year of law school was really interesting. It's amazing learning how the government works and how laws work and why things run the way they do. I didn't know about any of that until I got there, so it was really interesting. Really interesting.
What was your favorite part about law school?
First year of law school, just it like changes the way you think completely. It's almost impossible to describe, but it was fascinating. Really, really fascinating. And I worked so hard. It's a really hard year, but I did great and learned a lot.
Nice.
I don't know about the next 2 years. They weren't as interesting, but the first year was amazing.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you go out and get a job?
At first, I had to because I didn't know what else to do. So, but I didn't have a license either. So when you graduate from law school, you don't get your license right away. You have to wait until the government kind of processes your application. So for the first 10 months out of law school, I didn't have anything else I could do. So I worked. I wasn't good at finding a job because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that's what's so funny. I don't know if it's still like this for you guys your age.
Yeah, definitely.
But when I was younger, they just say study hard and go to school and then go to law school, and it was like I kind of got pushed in this direction and just did what I thought I was doing all the things I was supposed to do, but I never stopped to think what would make me happy and what would I enjoy. And so I having a job, I worked at internships and I did cool things like that, but when it came to really working, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I wasn't good at looking for jobs because it's not like I wanted one. So if you don't want something, it's hard to find it.
Yeah.
But so I worked for a firm I really didn't like, and I didn't like what I was doing. And then something really lucky happened. Right when I got my license, they went out of business.
Wow.
So I kind of lost my job because they went out of business. I had nothing, and I realized I don't want to look for a new job. And the places that I wanted to work anyway were saying that I wasn't good enough. And I said, well, hey, I don't need you. I'm going to just go get my own clients. So I literally had just got my license, and I started on my own.
So that was your first legal practice, right?
Oh yeah, right when I got my license, it was within 2 months I had registered my own law firm and started and bought insurance and went off on my own.
Did it grow for you? Are you still in it today?
Yeah, it's been 10 years now.
Wow.
And I'm still in it today.
Wow.
But what's crazy is most people work for someone else first and they learn. And I didn't have anyone else teaching me, so I learned everything by doing it. And it was pretty scary, but really fun.
Yeah, I bet.
Maybe not fun at the time. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Plain scary. But now looking back, 10 years have gone by, and I know what I'm doing, and I do it well, and it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's fun. How did that compare with what you would have earned as an employee in another firm? If you stayed in another firm, how would that compare to what you're doing now?
Well, there are big firms and there are small firms. The firm I was working with, the minute I went off on my own, I was making more money than what they were paying me. Because they paid me nothing.
Yeah.
There are definitely, some firms that pay insane amounts of money to kids right out of law school, but they're slaves. And they work all the time, and they don't get to take weekends, and they don't get to have their nights. And if they're in a relationship, they don't know if they're ever going to see the person that they're with. They don't know if they have kids, they're not going to see their kids. And it's a lot of hours. And so they make a lot of money, but I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
But for me, I was really young and totally covering at least as much as I would have made at the firm, and more even than what other people were making, and all on my own.
Wow.
So it was exciting for me to be doing that at first. I appreciated the freedom, and I didn't love being a lawyer though. That was the problem. I loved having my own law firm, but I never really liked.
Not the lawyer part.
I never loved being a lawyer. Yeah, I found it very aggressive. I don't like fighting with people.
Yeah.
When you have a lawyer, you're kind of paying, especially in litigation, when you're suing people, which is what I was doing at first.
Yeah.
People are just paying you to fight with them, to fight with their enemies for you.
Yeah.
And that's not. I'm not a fighter. I'm a
Yeah.
lover. I like.
Yeah. Nice thing, being kind to people.
What was your favorite part of that business?
I loved finding clients. I loved growing the business. I loved meeting people and networking, and building a huge professional network. I mean, that was what I was passionate about. I love the sales. I loved, just finding. Once you have your own business, it means that opportunities are everywhere. You just never know where you go, who you're going to meet. There could always be someone there that could be a potential client, or it could be a client for one of your friends, and then so there's always just possibilities everywhere, and the world opens up.
Yeah.
When you own your business, the world opens up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And for you guys, the world is totally open to you because
but we're meeting new people every day. Like we've never met you before, and we've never met anyone else with like the interviews besides like one or two of them. And it's just fun to meet new entrepreneurs that have the same job as us, and they have basically the same views and interests as us. It's really fun to meet new people and network, like you said.
Yeah, and to see that you don't know, because all of these people that you're meeting now, you don't know what kind of opportunity is going to come up in the future, where you say, you know what, maybe Jordana can help with this, and then you call me up and say, I just met someone and that would be great for you, or I'll think of, I just met someone, that would be great for you.
Yeah.
And it just means that everywhere you go, you can meet people and great things can happen.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part about having my own law firm.
Did anything funny ever happen?
It's an interesting question, It was never funny at the time because it's really scary. Like I would go to court and you wouldn't believe the way the judges would scream at me, or scream at everyone. Like they just are on a power trip and they scream at attorneys, the court officers, the way I would get screamed at for nothing. It's not like I was talking in class or, what were they yelling about? But they're just so mean.
Wow.
And a lot of times you're trying to fight for your client, so you have your client there wanting you to win and you're getting screamed at, and that's
not fun.
Back, it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
And learning the hard way, it's never funny when it's happening, but when I look back at some of the lessons that I learned and the mistakes that I made, and fortunately it all worked out and I did a great job for my clients, but there were some moments that are only funny in retrospect.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I don't know if I would say having a law firm is a particularly funny experience. But my best friend is a criminal defense attorney, and she hires me to help do all of her opening and closing statements. Yeah. And that gets really funny because sometimes these cases are very funny, and getting people like not guilty, like getting them. It's kind of interesting and funny.
Yeah.
Maybe lawyers aren't funny. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. Like I've always thought of being like a lawyer as a serious job, and I would say looking back in retrospect, if I was a lawyer and some of the funny stuff like you said that you think was funny, if I look back on it, I would probably think it was funny as well. Like the yelling.
But you're right though.
Yeah.
You're right that it's a serious job. It's really serious, and when you're on the spot, it gets really scary. It's a serious. You made a really good point. I'm sorry I interrupted, but
that's perfectly fine. I was rambling a little bit. Okay.
Now you.
Okay, so you have recently begun a brand new business called the Gutman Method, which combines your love of entrepreneurialism and your love of education. What inspired you to create this experience?
Well, I think what happened was that as I was growing my law firm, and which was my favorite part, was growing it, at the same time, since I really didn't want to fight with people anymore, and I didn't want to be a litigator anymore, and I felt there was a part of me that, while I'm so ambitious, then there was another part of me that didn't even want the work when I got it. Yeah. So I started to feel very conflicted in my heart, and I started to kind of not work as hard as I used to. I would work. I just didn't want the work as much. Yeah. And it confused me. because I used to judge myself as a very ambitious person, someone that really wanted to change the world and do great things.
Yeah.
But yet in my job, that was my own company, I started, to maybe not want the work.
Yeah.
And, it made me question a lot of things. Like, why was I a lawyer? Why was I even here? Why was I doing this? How did I get to this point?
Yeah.
Who told me I had done all the things that I was supposed to do? I went to college, I went to law school. When I was little, my parents said this was the best thing you could do. Teachers told me this was success. I was doing what everyone told me was success.
Mhm.
But yet it felt wrong to me.
Yeah.
And so I was going through a bookstore one day, and I saw a book, and the title was How Children Succeed. It was a book by a man named Paul Tuck. I think he's a New York Times writer. And the title kind of made me like, how do they? And why, and it was like, well, why didn't I? Because at the time I didn't see myself as successful because I was, really pushing away instead of building the business, which I loved to do technically, and I wasn't doing it. So it was just, I felt like I was very unsuccessful. So I read this book really wanting to understand what happened to me. What went wrong? Why wasn't I the success that I was hoping to be? And what I was reading in this book, I learned a lot about the education system. And I learned a lot about the way that standardized testing and standardized curriculums are starting to affect people or are causing a huge effect. And if you actually look in the newspapers, there's something called the Gallup poll, which is a national poll that finds every year that just about 70% of the people in our country are unhappy in their jobs.
Wow.
70%, which is a huge number.
Yeah.
And one of the things that this book, and after reading this book, I read many, many others, and what they're starting to say is that, when we're not teaching kids to follow their own interests, and we're not teaching kids to think about how to create opportunities based on what you like, and when everything's about standardizing and competing and not letting people fail and get back up and learn from mistakes, when failure is the worst thing you could do, you don't take risks. And when your only job is to get into the best possible college or to get the highest SAT score, you're not really thinking so much about what you want to learn.
Yeah.
So, and I looked back on my life and I said, that's true. And what was incredible was as I started reading more and more books, and the next one after that was a book named called Creating Innovators by Tony Wagner.
Yeah.
And he's a Harvard professor. And one of the things he said was that if you really want kids to be successful, you really want to teach kids how to be creative and innovative, then thinking entrepreneurially, teaching them entrepreneurship, or thinking them, teaching, he didn't say it in those exact words, but basically that teaching entrepreneurship is one of the best ways to promote creativity and innovation. Yeah. And that was when it hit me, I want to change this. I want to help people so that they're not in my position. I don't want 70% of our country to be unhappy in their jobs. But entrepreneurship, I grew up with that. I know about that. I can teach that with my eyes closed. That's the thing I'm most passionate about is finding opportunities and connecting with people and, showing people what their opportunities are in front of them and how to go after that. So I read a lot more books on education and entrepreneurship, and that's how I combined the two. And now I'm teaching entrepreneurship to teenagers.
Nice. And we totally agree with you. We want everyone to be happy with their jobs, and we think that entrepreneurship, and if everyone goes together and does what they love to do, then that's how everything's going to work out. That's how everything's going to work out better for everyone. And that's why we're trying to teach. Yeah, and that's why we're trying to teach everyone with our game, with our vocabulary game. How, the words that you need to get to the point with, we're teaching them the words that schools don't teach. We're trying to direct them in a path that is not standardized, like you said. So you're just trying to do something, that would go to the other 30%, the people that are happy.
Yeah, show what that 30% is doing, what makes them happy, what are the words that they're using, like you say, what are the concepts that they know about that the 70% don't know about. It's so important what you're doing. It's so important for you to show this to people and to show it to them at a young age, and it's so cool to use a game to do that because people think games are fun, and so they don't even realize they're learning. And learning should be fun. Learning is fun.
Yes.
Playing games are fun, you know?
Yeah.
Figuring out a puzzle is fun. Exploring what you like is fun. And if it's not fun, then you probably don't like what you're doing, so figure something you do like and do that. And then it'll be fun.
Definitely. Yes, your question. Your question, Heidi.
Good. Can you give us a sneak peek at your process?
My process of helping teenagers stand out on college applications?
Yes.
Yeah, so what I do is, in order to explain it, I also think it's important to also realize the mistakes that they're making that are the opposite. So a lot of, the thing is that college admissions is very competitive right now.
Yeah.
And for every one person who wants to get into, for every one spot in a freshman class, there are like 100 other or 1,000 people applying for that one spot.
Yeah.
So what people really want is to be able to stand out. So the college admissions person who's reading their application says, wow, this person is really different. This person is really interesting. This is someone that will really contribute to our school.
Yeah.
And the way that kids are doing that right now is they're just trying to take as many extracurricular activities as possible. They're trying to get the highest scores as possible and just sort of outdo what everyone else is doing. It's sort of like more.
Yeah.
They're just trying to do more and more and more without thinking more of what? What are we doing more of? So instead of telling kids to just go to more and more and more extracurricular activities or do more sports or do more, math Olympiads or whatever, which is all very valuable stuff. But I think it's even more valuable to understand, and this is what my process is. It's a 5-step process where I teach what I call like self-direction.
Yeah.
So the first thing is you figure out what you like and what you really would be interested in reading about. If you're someone who likes sports, then we could start with the sports industry. If you like music, we could talk the music industry. If you like clothes, we could talk about the fashion industry. Heidi, I know you used to do stuff in fashion and understand about how things are manufactured.
Yeah.
Your mom was telling me about that. So cool. So whatever industry you're in, there's so much you can learn about, whatever you're passionate about, there's an actual industry behind it that could be really interesting to learn about. So I help kids figure out, what questions to ask really, really quick. And so that's the second thing, is learning about it with really fast ways of getting the answers, including interviewing people, and that's connecting. So that's the third step, is connecting with professionals and asking them questions, just like what you're doing. Interviews.
I was about to say
get out more information, and then to publish it and get it in front of a larger audience and really answer questions and help people the way that you guys are helping other kids your own age, right? To show, check us out, look what we're doing. This is possible for you. And so, I'm trying to do this similar to what you're doing, but for a little bit of an older audience.
Nice.
It's great what you guys are doing.
Thank you. So, what are the ages and or other characteristics that could help a student and their family in our audience know if they're ready for your awesome experience?
So I usually work with like freshmen, sophomores, and juniors in high school. That's about the right age, because by the time they're freshmen, they start thinking about college applications, and we're going to do a little bit more advanced stuff that I found 8th graders, it's a little bit harder. Yeah. So 14, 15, and 16 is usually about the right time.
Mm-hmm. And that's my age.
By the time you're 17, you're already, a senior, most of them, and applications are due, so it's a little late for that. But still really important work. I think this is stuff you should do for the rest of your life, not just to get into college.
Yeah.
And the truth is, for me, my passion is to teach it to students no matter what. The reason I make it about college applications is because that's what they value. And in business, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to help people get what they want. So if what they want is to stand out on college applications, I say, okay, let me help you do that, but in a way that's going to make your future so much better, in a way that I can help you change your life and transform yourself into something more than you knew was possible. And that's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, and they could take your the experience that they learned from you with the college applications, and they could apply it to like resumes or something. Like if there are like 10 people vying for the same job, they could use what they learned from you and put that same thing into practice with the resumes, and see if they could get into that job and stand out a little bit more.
And then they can do the next thing, which is when they have their own company, they can use what they learned to get to the market and to get attention for their product or for their service, and then they can get more clients. So you're totally right.
Yeah.
This is something, it's a tool that could just keep being used and used over and over and over again for their whole life.
So how much time should students plan to invest with you to get the best results?
Well, they're actually investing time with themselves, not really with me as much.
Yeah.
And I think that, we're spending so much time studying what studying what someone else decides we should learn. And I think that, people should spend almost as much time studying what they want to learn. Because I don't know if this, based on what I've read from Harvard professors and Stanford professors and University of Chicago professors and the best writers and the best thinkers and the best business minds, I don't know if everything this school is forcing us to learn is really what's going to make you the most successful in life. So I say study success and study what is going to make you successful. And if what you want is to have a good life, then that should be, if not just as much time, maybe as a freshman you can spend just as much time exploring your own curiosity as you do studying for school, because there's less studying. Probably by the time you're a junior year, they are bombarding you with so much work that's unrealistic. So maybe 15 minutes a night, half an hour a night. But when you're younger, why not take advantage? And explore and enjoy and invest a lot in yourself. I'm all for people investing so much in themselves. And it takes less time than people realize. Everyone's wasting time on Facebook and social media. If you use that same amount of time to watch a video on something you're really excited about that really is going to teach you something,
then maybe you could learn something new and you could apply it to something else. Like maybe you could apply it to something in school that you're learning instead of spending those 3 hours on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Connect it up. That's what they say. When you learn something new, you connect it to what you already know, and that's how your mind expands even more. So you're totally right.
Nice.
Yeah.
When is the best time of year to start?
So the best time of year.
I think the best time is now. Anytime. It's always the right time to start investing in yourself and learning and following and figuring out, especially if you don't know what you like. Start by figuring out what you like. And it's not your fault. Schools are really not helping people. They're really, there are studies that show that kids are leaving high school less creative and less motivated than they were when they started kindergarten. So, it's not anyone's fault if they say, well, I don't know what I like. That's okay. It's okay. But now is the right time to start asking. The time is now. The best time is now.
Yes.
Seize the day.
Yes.
Anything new and exciting coming up soon?
Well, yeah, and this weekend I'm actually performing a wedding.
Wow.
That's exciting, but that has nothing to do with my business. I believe in love, and I like to do weddings. I like when people are happy and in love. So I'm performing a wedding. But then next week I'm speaking at a private school in Brooklyn called the Fusion Academy. They're amazing. That's really exciting. That's a week from today.
Wow.
And I've got a bunch of great webinars coming up on my website. So
great. So all of you guys watching right now, you could check them out in the description below as well. And good luck with that speech at the school.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it. And I hope I get to meet you guys in person really soon.
Yeah, us as well. So thank you so much, Jordana, for sharing your time with us today. If you would like to learn more about the Gutman method, the links are in the description below this video, same as our productive play stuff. And thank you, Jordana, again for this interview.
Thank you for all the great work you guys are doing. It's amazing and so inspiring.
No problem. Thanks for sharing great advice with us and our viewers. And we'll see you guys in the next interview. See ya.
Bye, guys. Thank you.